How many caves can you start off the video with a shot like that, you guys? Of course, I had to stand there waiting for 7 minutes, holding the camera while the trams went by and people stared at me like an idiot the whole time. But it was worth it. I got the shot. I hope. This is very appropriate for today. The cave is the oldest part of this park after all, by a few million years. Here's a little preview of what we're going through. Tall man's headache. You guys, I just noticed that sign down there. That is at least 20 years old. Those cave guides on it are people that I worked with back in the day. There's their warning sign. Definitely take this seriously if you come here. It is the most strenuous cave tour that I can think of. And the little pre-show area there. I love how they built the railing. When I was here, it was just a bench. When you were standing up there talking, kids would jump up on there with you all the time. I love this. They have a bat wall. We're heading on down toward the photo platform right now. Now this is where we used to take group photos back in the day. I've always loved this little mural. How many hidden things can you guys see? There's one. There's a couple of them over there. Imagine trying to fit 60 people on that little platform. It was not fun. Right now they've limited the tour down to 45, which is awesome. And the old stage where the photographer stood. Here we go. This is probably the best view of the sinkhole. With roller coaster noises in the background. And here's the kind of stairs that we're going down. Pretty steep. A whole lot of them. Another view of the sinkhole from the next landing. We're going about 50 stories down. Not all at once. Getting closer. Can start to feel that cave air. Don't see any bats. Sometimes there used to be bats hanging on the ceiling right here next to the entrance.
Welcome to Martha Cave. But this room is the Cathedral Room. 411 feet long, over 200 feet wide, and over 200 feet deep. So we could fit a 20-story building, a city block wide, in just this room. Have one cool spring day, an Osage hunting party who was chasing a bear through the woods. They'd already wounded him and they were determined to take him down when he suddenly charged for the top of Roanoke Mountain and disappeared. One young brave thought if he sent his barking dog down inside the hole, it would spook the bear back out. The dog jumped in the hole barking at the bear, so the bear lunged for the dog, and then that means the brave lunged for the bear with his knife. And all three went tumbling down into a dark abyss. Eventually, as darkness started to settle over the mountains, suddenly thousands and thousands of dark shadows emerged out of this misty cave like a black tornado. And that was enough for the Osage. But we give them credit. As they saw those dark shadows flying out of this cave, a few decided those were evil spirits and started calling it the Devil's Den. Well, of course, we know those were not evil spirits. They were devils. But there's a reason we call it the Cathedral Room, and I could use your help to figure this out. Now, I do something different than the other guys because I'm different. All right, let's warm up a little bit. Are you ready? Oh, I'm in good shape. All right, you're all hear it. That's kind of good. All right, let's get loud. Here we go.
Now, back in the day, we used to play a game where we would hide a little toy in the cave. In my day, it was a little wrestling finger puppet. We called him the Hipless Wonder. I found a Parasaurolophus. I have to wonder if they're still playing that game. Right now, we're on the switchback part of the trail, climbing down the debris pile. You'll notice that I said debris pile instead of breakdown. That's because a lot of this stuff is not actually breakdown. It's just fallen in the sinkhole over the years.
They brought all the parts and pieces down into this room, launched that balloon in 1963 to set the world's first underground altitude record for flying. Guys, I want you to look up at that tower because in 1894, it wasn't there. Where the steel tower is, well, that's where they installed a 70-foot-long wooden ladder. This eventually became so massive, it broke from the ceiling, fell to the floor, and cracked. Like that famous Pennsylvania monument it's named after. If you know what I'm talking about, yell it out. The Liberty Bell. We call them the column. That'll help you remember. However, if you go in other parts of the country, they may also refer to a column as a pillar, but not in the Ozarks. A pillar is what we lay our head on at night. And we named this beautiful column the Sentinel. And we think it makes sense, because if you look around the room, you'll realize the Sentinel is guarding over this room as the only supporting structure of the ceiling. Pay no attention to that crack at the top. And over there is a very alluring passage. The kids always want to go down it. Unfortunately, it gets smaller, before you get close to 100 feet, it's a wall. So we call it disappointment passage.
It doesn't actually end in a wall. It looks like it until you get to a certain point, but it kind of slopes upward, and there's a little mouse hole. There's a light out here. 20 years, and I can still tell. We're in the Serpentine passage right now. I always love this little hallway. They call it Serpentine because it serpents around. One time in here, a bat was on the floor, and it crawled up onto my shoe. That was a good time trying to get that off.
So by looking up at the smooth shape of the ceiling, who remembers the name of this room? Yell it out. The shoe room, very good. The toe, the arch, the heel, and a bunch of athlete's foot.
One cool thing about this place is how every tour is different. Usually people call this the shoe room. My tour, I would always call it the Egyptian room because the ceiling was Cleopatra's sandal. You would have Tut's tomb right over there. It's not illuminated, but that's the stage where she was standing on. And the Sphinx's nose right there. You'd think that's water dripping off of it, but it's not. We're going through the cloud room right now. Okay, I don't think you can see it on film, but there's another little dinosaur hidden in the cave there. That one looks like a velociraptor. Now I'm wondering if I missed any. This is the corkscrew staircase. At least part of it. It gets worse. Hey, they changed the color of that light bulb. And there's a third dinosaur. And this is the Harold Bellwright passageway. Harold Bellwright would actually come down here and spend weeks at a time in the cave. He wrote part of The Shepherd of the Hills in here. Dinosaur number 4, there's a T-Rex. I'm gonna have to ask about this. What is it with these things? Coming up on the waterfall room right now. I've seen this room flooded all the way up to the ceiling. Okay, so here we are at the waterfall room. Some of the little rimstone pools there. The room itself is, I think, about 50 feet deep. I could be wrong, maybe it's 30. I've seen it flooded all the way up to that third stair right there. Whoa, they changed the lights in here too. This little room, I think, is called the Egyptian Grotto. Could be wrong, since it's been 20 years, and it's the something grotto. That was always a good place to see bats, but I don't see any today.
Welcome to the Mystic Pool Room, the highest room at the top of this passage, closest to the surface. They blasted a tunnel to the side of the hill and installed our cable tray. I said that quickly and easily, and it was neither of those things. Well, within a year of blasting that tunnel out, putting the tray in, over 10 times the amount of people showed up for cave tours, which meant it didn't take long so there was another dilemma. Too many people to get through this cave. So they were trying to decide, how do we entertain people waiting to get in this cave? So we invited master craftsmen. Some of you may remember the old stagecoach ride. You got a few rides, and pretty soon, up top got so popular after decades of being modeled Cave Park, Missouri in 1960, it all became. And now you understand it all started because of the big hole in the ground.
Oh, it is still there. Up at the top of that little hill, there's some little buildings. That's what remains of a little town of Bethlehem that they carved out of clay one year for Christmas. And that thing was pretty old, even back in my day. I have no idea when they made that. Kind of cool it's still there. Remember how a couple of Silver Dollar City videos ago I said that Mystic River Falls was named after a river in the cave? That's it, the Mystic River. Dino number 5. Who knew this was going to turn into a dinosaur hunting video, you guys? And that's Blondie's throne right there. Long story short, it's called that because a little blonde kid at one time got lost in the cave. They found him curled up sleeping at the base of this formation, which kind of looks like a dude sitting on a throne. Can you tell I'm a little bit winded from the stairs? I'm not in shape anymore, you guys. That whole way up there is where we're going. We made it through the Huff and Puff staircase, you guys. About 10 stories straight up, that's all. Don't forget to look up when you get to the top of that staircase. We're going into the Elves' Chamber. Here we are looking down on the top of Blondie's throne. Here we are. This is the Elves' Chamber. Last room on the tour. And it is spectacular. There's where we just came from. And that was that. Now it's train time.
So remember, this tunnel is not part of the cave. It was blasted out, so hopefully we don't have to turn around and climb up those 50 stories. Are you ready for the blast off? Let's go down from the trees. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, blast off! Lean forward and say, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. As we emerge from the dark tunnel into the light of day, how about a big rock? We are emerging out of the tunnel on a 150-degree curve in a cable train that engineers said could not be done. Now, as a counterbalance train, you notice that the train coming down the hill and helps us up the way to the cars, and then electric closing cable helps pull up the way to the passengers.
There's a better shot of the train. The hoist room is inside the building and has the actual operations for the train. Definitely can't show you guys that, but it's pretty cool. Look, they have stuffed bats. And that was Marvel Cave. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm definitely going to have to go back. One thing, I still need to do Dave's tour. And for another thing, there is so much stuff that you guys did not find out about this cave on this tour. It would have been an 8-hour video if I would have mentioned everything in one trip. And while we're on this train, I think next week I'm gonna just keep going, do 3 caves in a row and go to Onondaga. That way I can have all 3 of my favorite cave tours right there in a row while they're fresh on my mind for comparison. So I hope to see you guys then. Later. Oh, they're still